I'm appreciate to see on my channel. Today me with my princely war hamster. It's my little assistant, as far as you can remember. We are going to paint and decorate our island base.
We apply the texture paste with the sand to create a sand relief volume. With a palette knife or a brush we will not use for painting anymore. Very carefully, because this paste consists of the real sand. The time drying consists of the wear thickness. In our occasion, it will take the 3 hours. It is longer than if we use the regular sand. But we will have no sand mess on our table. We will not waste glue in these occasions. The one single bottle of such a paste consists much cheaper than if you waste a tons of glue tubes just to glue tiny sand grains. This sand paste is suitable for acrylic paints, so we don't need to apply primer on it. And the regular sand will not give us such a good relief. As you can see here, we got a beautiful thick white mass, just as our hamster. Now it completely dried. The relief is well visible. Check the result on all sides and go on. Welcome our wet palette. It paints for the first painting step. Vallejo Royal Blue and Royal Purple paints. And also Screamer Pink, Thousand Suns Blue, Emperor's Children, and Pink Horror Citadel paints. So grab our wet palette. It is model painter's big friend. It is usable to mix the colors in any proportions and remain them wet and smooth for a long time. Mix well 2 drops of the royal blue paint with 1 drop of water on the wet palette and then apply the mixture on the some areas of the sand mass. Then do the same operation to the next paint. Now it's a time for the royal purple. 2 drops of paint with 1 drop of water on the wet palette. Mix it and apply it on the base close to the blue color. Don't be afraid to leave some uncovered sections. The next step. We use Screamer Pink and Thousand Suns Blue. We will apply them on the still wet layer of blue and purple colors. But firstly, repeat the same operation. 2 drops of Screamer Pink with 1 drop of water on the wet palette. Mix well. And after, we apply the mixture above the previous layer. So, then we do the same with Thousand Suns Blue. And don't forget about metallic stones, if you have some on your minion. We cover them with Thousand Suns Blue completely. This time, we should give our base to dry up slightly. The next step, Pink Horror. Just the same. 2 drops of paint with 1 drop of water on wet palette. Mix it well. Apply it on edges. Then, do the same mixing action with Emperor's Children. This color is more accent bright, so cover it over projecting parts to emphasize the relief closer to edges. It looks like the hamster wants this sand for his cage. Yes, my little childhood. It is almost the dune.
Now we'll show you some technique which I always like to use. Just the grass painting. This is very useful when you want a different grass color or when you want to create some very nice gradient on grass or bushes, or just to create something like snow or sand effect on it, and so on.
So, here is it. Firstly, we paint our glue foundation dark colors. In our case, it's black. It can be black Vallejo paint or Citadel's Abaddon black paint. Secondly, we gently paint our grass with royal blue Vallejo paint, holding it with tweezers. Then, we give our color time to dry up. Then, we use eyebrow brush. In some occasions, it is surprisingly even more convenient than a regular dry brush. But if you don't have or don't want to buy some, You can use brush for dry brush here. As we can see, some of our grass pieces stuck together. That is why we should comb it with brush to do our bush more fluffy. Now we should highlight our tips. Personally, I use not just white, but white for airbrush, because it has more liquid consistency. Move on to the next step. Now we will use this awesome Valeggio magenta paint. This time we don't need a liquid consistency, so no water adding. But we still use wet palette, just to prevent the paint drying. We apply our magenta all over the white tips. So why did we use white paint if we cover it with other color? Just to do this color brighter. If we just apply magenta over dark blue, we will have dark magenta color on tips, but not bright color. So here is our bush painted in two colors. Go back to base painting with citadels and parrots, children. I use my hand to get rid of the paint extras. Our base has a good relief because of texture paste, so it will be easy to dry brush it. Then we dry brush some areas with Thousand Suns blue to give our base more interesting look. Then we add even more highlights with bright Techless blue citadel paints. This time we will dry brush not only the sand, but the stones close to Minnie's leg too. This paint is still enough on our brush for painting, and it will not leave extras on our base. So, the next part of very light paint we will apply on our edges. In our occasion, it is Citadel's full green pink. But if you don't have the paint because it is not easy to purchase it in some countries, you can mix 50% of Emperor's Children and 50% of any white color you have, just to get some tone. The light blue highlights we can receive using the Citadel's Baharos blue, or mixing the 50% of Thousand Suns blue with 50% of any white color you have. Just dry brush some areas of the sand and stones close to the Minnie's legs. Now it is the time for pale blue. In this point we use Citadel's blue horror edge, or if you don't have some, mix 10% of Citadel's Calidor Sky, or any other paint of the other companies, which has a closer color tone, with 90% of any white color you have. Dry brush the very far edges and the top of the stones. Check the result, take the small brush for dry brushing, and carefully dry brush our stones again. And the very last step, glue our bushes to the base. Check the result and delicately apply the last highlights on the base's edge line with blue horror. Then add some tiny accents with this paint on the stones and the sand edges. Gently unstick our mini out of the temporary base. Peel off our tape. And here we are. Our mini is done.
This is the finish. Our awesome Gwailo boy is completely done. Thank you for being with me during this video. If you like this video, just click on the button below and come to me. My awesome. And subscribe this channel. See you next time, guys.